My name is Rory Houlihan. I ran for U.S. Senate last spring 2016 to stop the ticking time bomb so I could put our economy on track for a bright new day instead of all things ending. Well, I lost the election. Not running, but the ticking time bombs is still here. If not more so, let me educate you on the ticking time bombs and give you the rest of the story. Part 1N/Q. Continuation of Lucius Quintus Cincinnatus Lamar, a most unlikely liberal. Let's continue with David Perdue's work history. I apologize for any mispronunciations. As you can tell, I'm not feeling too hot. Dollar General, 2003 to 2007. CEO takes over as CEO after a stock fraud scandal. The company is ordered to pay out $162 million to shareholders. Purdue overhauls the product line, logistics network, and updates the company's marketing strategy. After closing hundreds of old stores and paying off to pay off the settlement, Purdue doubles the stock price, adds some 2,600 new stores, and then helps sell the company to a private equity firm. Being paid in stock does have its benefits. Are Dollar Generals run by elk? Maybe. Next, Guant, I can't even pronounce it right now. Heavy Chemicals Ltd. 2007 to 2009, senior consultant for the Indian company, chemical and textile giants GHC. Do you think David Perdue knows that Indians speak English too? Very well, with a slight accent. Ah, and like 70% of the Chinese working population also speak English. English requirement is, after all, English is, after all, one of the favorite um, channels on the Chinese state-run TV. I wonder if the Indian and Chinese knowing English requirement would affect them from taking STEM jobs, extremely high demand by tech companies, high-paying U.S. jobs from U.S. citizens. Are the words merit-based code for taking high-paying jobs from nerds? Hmm. What is the image of a nerd? A white male? Are the Indians and Chinese lily white? Are the young nerds, let's be honest, mostly white males, are the intended victims of this RAISE Act? Does a STEM education cost a lot of money today? Because we don't subsidize it. Does that mean that they have high student loans? And do families co-sign those loans, putting their homes up for collateral? Are these student loans debt do us part loans, thanks to conservatives? Is Jeff Sessions doing his very best to make sure it is white folks going to college only, taking on those debts only, and just maybe becoming indentured slaves only? Ah, do you realize that Wall Street now owns most of the tech companies? And as I pointed out earlier, Wall Street wins by L, and we have known this since 1908. Is L always lower prices, always lower wages, always worse and worse products, and either chasing or creating poverty to gain the most from products? Would undermining the highest paid college kids undermine the future labor market of all college kids? Remember how cap and slide works? You go after the top to get their cost down half, and everybody else's goes and follows. If there is a recession, would these loans take white families' homes from them? Absolutely. It's win-win for Wall Street. Lamar's ADDG principle holds true here again. Would we call the RAISE Act the Lower Act? We really should. That is just the tip of the RAISE Act taken. But that David Perdue and that Donald Trump are such good and honest men because they say so. Atlanta Global Trading Firm, April 2011, started by David Perdue, Sonny Perdue, Trey Childress, and Heidi Green. I wonder what they trade in. Commodities, maybe, like farm commodities? What happens if David Perdue does to the rest of the farm economy, like what they did to the Georgia's farm economy? Remember, $2 billion worth of produce lying on the ground in Georgia fields rotten. What would happen if the same kind of laws enacted in Georgia happened across the U.S.? 200 billion worth of produce went to rot on Georgia's fields alone, and the RAISE Act promises to do this, but to the entire nation. If we just do a quick and sloppy cost check, and just multiply the 2 billion in direct costs to the entire country, we get 2 times 50, let's see, $100 billion in crop losses to the U.S. farmers. Not to mention the secondary and tertiary job losses downstream that would cause. Let's be honest. The reason we have immigrants work these jobs is because Americans don't want to work these jobs. That is the RAISE Act. $100 billion worth of produce, going to rot on our American farms. What would that do to our rural, let's be honest, white economy? Why would anyone knowingly want to do this? Where would U.S. retailers turn for the vegetables? International supplies, South America. Do they have the same food safety laws that U.S. growers must adhere to? No. Could the lower food safety standards mean cheaper food? Yeah. Would the U.S. farm losses cause our food safety standards to be lowered? Yes. Remember, help is always cheaper and cheaper, always worse and worse. Are the folks in South America lily white? Should we call the RAISE Act the Lower White Society Act? The Get Rich for the, what is that? Purdue's Act. Understand the help game is ADDG, always discrimination against the dominant group, white society. Do you think the RAISE Act is intertwined with Trump's DACA announcement? You better believe it, folks. And none of it is good for us white folks either. Do you think that David Perdue is stupid? No, far from. But does he think we white folks are stupid? Should be your question. And I believe the answer is yes. This is the end of 1N/Q, the continuation of Lucius, Quintus, Cincinnatus, Lamar, a most unlikely liberal. If you like what you hear, would you do me a favor and subscribe to my Rory for Us YouTube channel? You have a good and blessed day. Bye.